First up, is there any modifications or changes to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, I'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak tonight?
Random question. I was just on the website and the only meetings scheduled for for a little while are the third Tuesday. The first Tuesday isn't in the calendar as a meeting.
For
April,
April?
May, June,
Okay,
July.
we can fix
Okay.
that.
I was just wondering if you guys had changed something or if,
Now well,
yeah, I was,
So
not
the
officially.
fourth meeting, the fourth Tuesday meeting?
there's only one meeting a month for the next like several months.
I wonder when we took out the March 8th meeting, if that
Took
triggered
everybody
something.
out.
Okay,
else. So,
okay.
thank you,
I was
Ellen,
just-
I'll make sure we
Yeah, no
update
worries.
that.
I was just
Yeah, thank you.
wondering.
Cindy?
I have a comment, but you're gonna be talking about the election later. Do you want me to just wait and comment it when you're talking about that, or do you want me to do it now?
I don't think that the election is on the agenda tonight.
It says, I don't have it with me. What's
We
it
have to have our organizational meeting, so we have to do all
say? Do you
But
see
that's-
it, Sean?
the yearly after election
Yeah, there's
No,
stuff.
I
nothing
didn't see
election
it.
on here.
Oh, it says approval of annual election
Yeah.
results.
That's why I just thought, it's up to you, I don't care.
Oh,
Go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what
Okay.
you got?
So it's about the election, the municipal election that we had. So this is a letter, and 25 people just in the village have signed it because they care about this issue. So we, the undersigned residents of Enosburg Falls, were very disturbed by the village's election process this year. The state laws that apply to municipal elections were not followed in order to ensure that we had a safe and secure election. Specifically, required members of the Board of Civil Authority did not conduct the election. A candidate was allowed to count ballots even after seeing that she had a serious write-in contender. The election results were not certified at the polls. The ballots were not locked up at the polls with a numbered tag that matches the tally sheet, as per, this is all per state law. Ballots were taken home by the presiding officer who opened the bag, handled and counted the ballots, and changed the tally sheet results. The bag was secured with only a hardware zip tie, not the official certified numbered, tag that you're supposed to put on it. And then it was brought to the village here the next day, but all this had already transpired. So the elections director at the state of Vermont said that many Enosburg people had contacted him about this election, because I was contacting them myself. He recommended that we come to you, the trustees, to express our concerns. We are requesting that you support a more secure local election process by notifying the presiding officer in writing about your concerns with the last election, requiring the presiding officer to attend the same election training that the town clerk attends, and let's see, where was that? And encourage the presiding officer to study applicable state law pertaining to municipal elections before we have another election. We ask, that this be done before the next election, and that we find out about it somehow, or in the minutes or something, or vote on it or whatever.
By the election officer, are you referring to Andy Bolio or town?
He was the
or
one in
village
this
clerk?
case, yeah, definitely. So, that's about it. Any questions on, I don't know what, the sun's right in my eyes. I don't know what you've heard or know, but there's 4 or 5 instances where the law was not followed. And in a situation where you had a malicious person, and nobody is accusing Andy of that, okay? I wanna make that clear. And I told him that myself, and people have told him since. We have laws because we're solving problems. These have, this opens up the door for somebody to make a change. Nobody can feel 100% secure when they know that somebody was in the bag of ballots changing the tally sheet. Like I said, nobody's accusing him, but we don't want the same process to happen. A lot of people signed this.
So that petition, just to be clear, that petition just
Not,
Just says that it wants to have the village voting officers attend more training, not to redo the vote.
no, there's a process for that, and that's long past, actually.
Cindy,
So-
would you be able to leave us a copy of that?
Oh, yeah,
Or I
alright,
can
yeah,
email you back a copy. if you
Sure,
want.
people can read it, because, you know, they might wanna look at the
Thank
different
you.
things that were on. Well, thank you, so we're hoping that, I'm sure everybody wants the next election to be, everybody can feel totally secure about what went done, or whoever the next presiding officer is. If there's another one, that we have to have safe and secure, you know, elections. In Billy Joe, the town clerks get trained, and often the town clerk and the village clerk are the same people. In our case, they're not. And she has offered him advice. She offered to be up there for the election, and she wasn't needed. She was at the recount, so she's, you know, she's concerned. We should all be concerned. It's not about outcome. It's about that the will of the people is honest. That's all this is about. So we want to have a good, safe process for everybody, and nope, everything's, we're past this year. We're just looking toward the future, and there's a lot of people, like I said, that did call down there. He told me, Will Penning, the elections director, and I knew him from working in my committee in Montpelier, and he said it really needs to be handled at the local level, where we expect to have a really, an election that the law is followed to a T. To a T, that's why it's there, to be followed.
Okay.
So thanks for your attention. I
Oh,
hope to
absolutely.
hear that things get done.
All right, thank you, Cindy.
Yep, you're welcome.
Is there any other public comment tonight? Hearing none, we will move on to our organizational meeting. First up, we need to elect a chair. So at this point, I am going to turn the meeting over to our vice chair, Heather Moore, so you can elect a chair.
Okay, does anybody nominate a chair?
I move that we cast one vote for the present chair.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, Sam. I
Thank
give the
you.
meeting back to you.
All right, up next, we need to elect a vice chair.
I move we cast one vote for the vice chair's position to stay the same as it is now.
Second.
So we have 2 votes for Heather. Is it unanimous?
Yes.
Aye.
All right. Heather Moore has been elected vice chair. Next, we need to set up meeting times. Does the current situation work for everyone still? Second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 6:30.
Yes.
Sounds fair.
All right, that shall remain the same. Paper of record. Our current paper, I believe, is the St. Albans Messenger.
Correct.
Is everyone happy with our current selection?
Yep.
So I'll hear a motion to maintain the St. Albans Messenger as a paper of
Is it
record.
not the county courier?
Traditionally, it's been the St. Albans Messenger. And that seems to be working for us. But I'll hear other options. But,
I'll make a motion we keep it the same as Albans Messenger.
all right,
Second that.
we have a first and a second. All those in favor of maintaining the St. Albans Messenger as our paper of record, say aye.
Aye.
Up next, TAC appointment. Gary?
Well, I'm no longer TAC appointment for Bakersfield anymore, because I'm no longer a select board member, so I can do it, but I'm not Bakersfield anymore, so I can do it.
Okay, sounds like Gary volunteered.
Don't worry, I was gonna volunteer you.
I'll hear a motion to appoint Gary as our TAC appointment.
I make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, Regional Planning Commission Board appointment.
Oh, somebody asked for a clarification of the TAC appointment.
What is TAC?
Transportation.
Advisory Committee, it's all the towns of the community, I'll go over different items of state, with bridges, roads.
I guessed it was something in that area.
Regional Planning Commission Board appointment. Who is our current appointee?
So last year, Leonard was nominated and Sean Kyo were voted as the two.
Would you still be up for that?
Yes.
Does there need to be two?
That I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
So Sean is no longer
Right.
around.
We can make one
but it-
vacant and then somebody can
Yeah,
express later.
I wonder, if we needed to, would it make sense for, Jesse Woods, if you'd be interested in it with,
He's actually on, you can ask him.
perfect.
Jesse.
Good evening, Jesse.
Hey guys, how are ya? Hey guys, how are ya?
We're good.
Nope, hold on.
Yeah, we're fine.
Nope, just hold on for a minute. Last time I think I just stopped the video and then came back on it. Jesse, can you say something real quick?
You guys hear me? You guys hear me?
Okay. Hold on
Abby.
a minute.
How about you just mute the TV and it comes?
No, it doesn't work. I have to unplug the owl and put the owl back in. Hold that thought.
Who?
I know what it goes, hoo-hoo.
Technology at its finest.
It's great when it works.
Did this the other day and I actually was able to stop it from doing that, so let's see if it'll work again today. On the couch is there.
All right, can you hear us now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Much better.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I guess the board has a question for you, Jesse. Would you be up to be our appointment for the Regional Planning Commission Board?
The select board beat you guys to it. I already am on, so.
It's not the answer we wanted, Jesse.
Yeah, sorry. So I am on, but I am on behalf of, I guess technically that would be on behalf of the town, so.
Okay. All right, no problem. So,
I'm guessing I could still technically, if Sean was technically an employee, so I would think it would be the same situation, I'm guessing.
right, and Gary was for Bakersfield and Enosburg.
Right, so I mean, technically, I would say, obviously I have the best interests for, the municipality as a whole anyway, so.
Okay. Well, think about it and let us know. We have, I think there's 2 seats that we can put, so. We can always
Right, I
appoint
think
down the
one
road.
is there's a prominent, and then I think the other one might be an alternate. I'm not sure how that does work, so.
Okay. But Leonard, if you're still up for it, I will hear a motion to appoint Leonard as our Regional Planning Commission appointment.
I'll move.
I'll
David
second.
first, Sandy would second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay. Regional Planning Commission Water Advisory Commission.
There were no nominations last year.
Does anybody have any names that come to mind? All right, we can move on from this one. I don't have any ideas either. We can always point down the road, so. Regional Energy Commission appointment, same deal?
So last year, the notes that I have was that the board asked John to talk to Dave Wescombe about serving on this committee, but I believe he did not want to commit to it at this time.
Okay. We can ask him at, Cindy?
I'm slow on the draw. Can you explain what the water one was?
So it's the Regional Planning Commission Water Advisory Commission. I have to admit, I'm not too familiar on that, but I would assume it has something to do with.
Like our water, like our river?
I think it has to do with the
Or
watershed.
Why it's watersheds and our waterways, I think.
Not like.
That's like rivers and streams, isn't it? It's not village water.
No.
No, I don't think no, it's not municipal water, I believe. Does somebody have a comment?
Nope, I was just letting
It
John
might
know
be
it's a
something to
meeting.
bring up to the Conservation Commission and see if any of them would be interested.
No.
It is not terribly clear the way it's written what kind of water they mean, but.
No,
I believe it's like
oh, no, or
watershed,
not.
like
But
maybe
it'd be good to have a
brownfields.
description. of what the job, what do you do, or what do you care about?
It's through the NRPC. I think it's just one of their committees. I'm trying to find something local. It's to do with the stormwater and the watersheds, it looks like.
I wonder if Brian would be up for that.
I would say you could go either Brian or
Yeah, I don't have the time for it.
Gary. Brian will be here later this evening. We can ask him.
Yeah, we can always ask him.
Yep.
Okay, so Regional Energy Commission appointments, if there's no names that come to mind, we'll leave that one blank for now as well. We can reach out to Dave, ask him again. Town of Enosburg Recreation Committee appointment, is that still Steve?
I believe so. Last I knew Steve was still
Okay.
on there and representative for that, yes.
Okay, we can,
Steve Ladsford.
yeah, we can keep him on. I'll hear a motion to nominate Steve as our Recreation Committee appointment.
Make a motion.
Second.
Heather with the first, Theo with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And up next, we need approval of the annual election results.
I have a copy of those in my desk. Did I need to bring those
To read them?
for you guys to review, or how does that typically work?
Yeah,
What's that? First thing for me, I can tell you.
Do you remember what you did last year?
I think we just approved the results because they were published publicly.
Okay.
We can read through it to be safe, if you don't mind running and grabbing that.
I'm 99, I'm sure I have a copy.
99 and 44,100?
44,000.
No,
that's-
I
that's
researched
the-
was 4,400.
I guess while she's gone, we can move on to the rules of order. Right now, we have a loose interpretation of Robert's Rule of Order for meeting law. Seems to be working well for us. If everyone agrees, I will hear a motion to accept a loose interpretation of Robert's Rules of Order.
I make the motion, we accept it.
Leonard with the first, is there a second?
Second.
Hannah with the second, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right.
Something we can do for some of the appointments that aren't filled is we can put it on Front Porch Forum and Facebook and just request if anybody's interested to contact Abby.
We can do that. That makes sense.
Maybe we can give a little description of what it is.
That would be good.
Exactly.
Greg's got something.
Because I think as far as I've been here, we haven't had a water advisory appointment.
But there might be someone from the community who'd be really
Who's
If
really
we find out what
interested in
kind of
water.
water
They
they're
just don't
talking
know it's
about.
appointment, so.
Right.
If they knew what it was about, that's right.
The Missisquoi Valley watershed comes to mind,
Yeah, I think it's
or
really
Conservation
good.
Committee, anyone in there.
It's important.
Greg's got something.
Just back to the rules, how can you conform to a loose version of something that isn't defined?
Well, I guess that gives us a little bit of leeway to make some slight modifications.
That's my point. If there's, if it's not actually written,
What's not actually written.
if your rules aren't actually written, so if you're going based off of a loose version of something, then you're based off of something that isn't actually documented. So if a member of the public wanted to come in and contest something that happened or didn't happen, or a procedure, if you're establishing a rule based on a loose interpretation of something, it leaves a huge area of discrepancy, so.
As far as the structure of the meetings go, it is based off Robert's Rules of Order.
My point is that it might be better to actually say Robert's Rules of Order than a loose version of Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, but I think the reason why we've been doing that is there are some very minute details that we do a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
I can't exactly tell you what those are right now, but if you want to have a conversation later on, I can do some more research and get back to you. Okay, so,
I have the results.
alright, so just for minutes, we adopted Robert's Rule of Order. Eli had the first.
Leonard and Heather.
Leonard and Heather.
I
Okay,
wrote it down because it was a good.
thank
Okay.
you.
So, we need to approve the annual election results. And for village trustee for 3 years, Sandy Ferlin, for village trustee for balance of 3-year term, Eli Guzda, for village treasurer for 1 year, Andre Bolio, for village moderator for 1 year, Patrick Hayes, for village clerk for 1 year, Andre Bolio. For Article 2 was passed, Article 3 was passed, Article 4 was passed, Article 5 was passed, Article 6 was passed, Article 7 was passed, Article 8 was passed.
That's it, yep.
So if we all agree with the election results, I will hear a motion to accept them.
I move we accept the election results.
Eli with the first, Leonard has the second. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed nay. Okay, next up, we have to review and approve minutes for February 22nd, the special meeting March 3rd, and the informational meeting from March 7th. If everyone had a chance to look over all of those minutes and didn't see any errors, Sandy?
On the draft of the special meeting of Board of Trustees, March 3rd, I don't think seconded by Sandra Moore is correct.
Where?
Number 6, under adjourn.
Send, hey,
We become one person.
we can fix that.
Well, actually, I suppose I guess I better say doctor.
No.
Were there any other errors or
I didn't
things that
find
were left
anything
out?
else, no.
Good catch. All right, hearing none, I will hear a motion to accept those
There
minutes.
was one other one, but Abby knows about it.
It was just a spelling correction in the informational meeting minutes that will get updated.
Okay. So I will hear a motion to accept them with the spelling and name corrections for the informational meeting.
Move we accept.
Sandy with the first, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, that's unanimous. Up next, we have Brownway River Trail Crosswalk from Enosburg Elementary School with Kate Bennett.
Alright, I am going to help Kate out a little bit along this, and she has a presentation that she has put together for the trustees. Oh, I guess if I'm fancy, I can figure out how to share my screen, huh? Alright. And Kate will help you along the way, whatever you need, okay? You can sit right there, you don't have to stand up in front of everybody. So Kate's a little nervous, so.
Don't worry, we don't bite.
And if you wanna let me know, to move on, I have your whole presentation, the petition, and the trustees also have it in their packet so they can follow right along with you, okay?
My name is Kate Bennett and I am in the 4th grade at Enosburg Elementary School. I noticed something our community needs. I propose that a crosswalk will be added to Dickinson Avenue to access the Brownway River Trail. I believe this is an important addition to our community because it will keep this community safe. It will let people from outside our community know where it is a safe place to cross is. It could prevent injuries. It will alert drivers to slow down. I have included letters of support and signatures from other students, staff, and community members. As you can see, a lot of people in our community think we need this also. I hope that you agree with me and support my proposal for a crosswalk. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my proposal.
And a fine proposal as
Yes,
well.
great job. So Kate, as you guys have in your packet, has several student signatures supporting her desire for the crosswalk, along with some teacher support, which is fantastic.
5, 6.
Gary and I have done some homework for tonight's meeting to try to help Kate out to get this project kind of moved along. I made Gary get me a quote, rough estimate on what the cost would be.
Basically what you do to be handicapped, we're gonna have to pull about 20 feet of curb, have a curb cut, probably pull about 20 feet of sidewalk, bring down it, for ADA, put a couple of detectable surfaces, probably want to put up a small piece of concrete across the other side. So I get a hold of ECI, Engineers Construction, just a rough budget. They said somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 for the concrete work. We could do all our own demo and gravel and that kind of stuff, but the concrete work would have to be done by somebody else.
So all in all, with the demolition of what's there, the gravel, everything, the topsoil, the signs, plus including our labor and the equipment, we're looking at $7,000, which
Roughly,
is
that's probably a little high, but we kept it a little high just in case we don't know what
right.
the way this economy is right now. Concrete's gone up $10 a yard just in the last month because of fuel prices.
So I've also done a little bit more homework to find a few grants that would cover this entire project. Unfortunately, we've missed the deadline. The one grant I was hopeful for, the deadline was today, so we weren't going to be able to make that. So the option is, because we don't have this budgeted this year, would be if we put it on for next year and we can start applying for grants in the fall. I found at least 5 or 6 grants that would cover this project in whole.
Perfect.
So, can't speak for the board, but we definitely can do some legwork this summer. Kate, and if you want to be a part of the process, even with the grants and whatnot, I'll let you know when it's time. You can help out with it. But there's a lot of great opportunities out there that would fund this project entirely to be able to make it safer for you guys. The board has to say.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
presentation.
very good idea. Unfortunately, we don't have the money right now, but we can work to try to get it, to make it happen for the future.
Good presentation.
Yes, you did an
Absolutely.
excellent job.
And we will work on it.
Yes, I have the wheels in motion on a couple grants for the fall, so we should be able to find you full funding for this.
Helen?
A, if you're writing the grant, there's money to pay a grant writer that we can go to the town and request.
Yep, that's something else that's been discussed, but I just was trying to find what grants would cover for this
And-
type of project.
I'm trying to picture all of that concrete there. I don't know if it might not be easier, but is there a way to use the curb that goes up to get around the corner to go from there? Instead of having to cut into the curb right on
The
the
only
corner
place,
with
the
that?
only place you could probably do without a curb cut would be up by the driveway. Then you have to walk down the whole length of the other
Yeah.
side to get down there, which it's still not safe then.
It's still not
It should
really
be
a
a-
crosswalk.
Should be a direct cross, it's gotta be handicapped
Thinking
because,
about what,
yeah, I know, I thought about the same thing.
depending about how much money of what
Right.
costs what of concrete or.
The problem
curb
is,
or-
it's a small quantity of concrete. It's like, when you do something, it costs, the more you do, the less it costs, because per foot or per concrete, but have somebody come up here and do 20 feet of sidewalk and 10 to 20 feet of curb, it's just, money.
Small load charges.
Yeah, small load
Yes.
charges and minimum loads and.
Yep. Okay,
More things that I'm sure you thought of. Can we do it on the same day as we do this one?
Or we can, do which one?
The
Oh,
one-
over there, yeah, if we can schedule it right, yes.
Well, that may happen.
Yeah, that's gonna happen
This-
this-
That may happen sooner than.
Exactly, but it would
Because we
be
don't have
more
the funding for
concrete
that,
at once.
right?
Again, maybe when we do the other concrete sidewalks down the road,
Yeah.
okay, well, thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
you missed it. It was good.
Wait a second.
We're a few minutes ahead.
7:01. Do it again.
She did fantastic.
I just want to- Splendid job. Very professional,
Oh,
very well done.
I just want to say, Kate, I think it's super exciting to see a student see a problem, come up with a solution to fix it, and get involved in a civic thing like this. So good for you, and
Especially in fourth grade.
Yeah,
And I would like to
absolutely.
speak up that this really was Kate's
Mhm.
doing and brainchild. It says in my letter, I kind of walked through the process of how she went about it, but she herself emailed Mrs. Hubbard and Mrs. Caswell and Joanne Allen. So this really was completely derived from a 10-year-old who saw this in the community. So I think it's.
That's pretty
So
true.
she's our future, which is really
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Looking for things in the
Yeah.
community.
That's right.
And don't be afraid to get involved. Good for you.
We haven't bitten you yet.
And don't be discouraged, you know, because the money wasn't sitting on the table tonight, because these things take time. Gotta work on it.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just be in touch.
Sounds great.
You can come and see us anytime you like.
Okay, we'll
She
get another
needs-
project going.
She needs this.
Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have outside activities permit for 2022 activities from the Enosburg Business Association with Shauna Loveland.
Just leave right there, guys. Just leave right there, I'll take care.
Good evening, Shauna.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So what do we have tonight?
So this is the blanket permit that the EBA typically sends every year. There are some, you know, it covers the Easter egg hunt, which we're excited to bring back this year after COVID. If any of you have time and wanna empty and restuff thousands of eggs with fresh candy, we're looking
only
for
have
volunteers. Yeah. You should, I'm telling you, and we need adult volunteers that day, Eli, you know, if you wanna come by and help spread some eggs out of the park.
It takes an hour to
so,
spin eggs and 10 seconds for it to
so
be ready.
it's got that, it's got, you know, just to do popcorn with a band. But there's other things on there that obviously we have to come back for, other permits separately. But this is kind of, the trustees have always kind of given this blanket permit with these things. And then there should be a certificate of insurance included in there. And then once, I think in the past it's been $50, but I wanted to confirm that and obviously get your approval before we send that to you.
Yeah, so in the past, it had been $50, but ever since we redid our parks use permit, the application, it's up to the discretion of the board whether or not to charge and, yeah, it's up to us, I
Yep.
guess.
So, I mean, obviously, you know, the summer concert series, the Harvest Fest, Christmas in Enosburg, what else is on there? Would need separate permits that need to be approved, but it's kind of giving you an idea of what our plans are for the year.
This one?
This is all I'm submitted
Okay.
at this time.
Second.
I think it's just gonna blanket approval for them to move forward and then we'll submit the.
Okay, so you don't have a permit for us to approve right now, you're just,
I mean, that's kind of just the blanket, you know, this is what we're doing. For the Easter egg hunt, we've honestly we've only just given you this, saying that we're gonna have an Easter egg hunt on the park.
Okay.
We do
And-
have a meeting prior to that if you do.
Yeah, if you want a
wanna kind of do the
specific
blanket
permit,
approval
we can.
and
yeah, if anything, well, yeah, I think it'll make it easier to do a permit, an actual
Okay.
permit.
So, do you have that event is the 16th?
Yep.
So will that give us, if I send you a permit this week, will that give us enough time for the 7 days before the event thing?
The meeting is on the 12th, so you would have to
We'd have to
have
wait
some
until
flexibility
7
with that. Maybe give Shauna the green light to get it going, because they're gonna be planning, and then that'll just be kind of the formality for them to.
Yeah, we'll have to go that route, I think. And I don't know if you wanna do I know it's kind of a pain, but individual permits for, each one of the events.
Yeah, I think most of these we actually already do. That one we just for some reason have never, we've just submitted this ladder in the past. And, but again, it's been 2 years. So.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can send it tomorrow, but I can tell you it's the 16th of April. It starts at 10 o'clock and we're usually there. The guys are always great about cleaning the park up. And I usually try and go a couple hours before
Yeah.
with some bags.
Yeah, we can
just
have a bag brigade.
cleaned up even more.
It's disgusting.
Which if anybody has a way to get people to pick up after their
I mean, you
dogs.
got dog bags on all corners of the
It's
park.
incredible,
Still
and
can't
they're
pick 'em up.
always full.
But
They're
when you do
always
bad
full.
things
Those
like,
bags there,
excuse me, you're gonna pick that up, right? You get strange gestures.
Yeah, but anyway, I digress. You know, we're there like half an hour before putting the eggs out. Honestly, it's over in 10 minutes. And then that's basically it.
Yep,
So
okay. Yeah, that sounds
section
good.
off different spots.
And there
It's-
certainly are never any eggs left.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It's like,
So, yeah, I guess the board can, I don't know, if officially, unofficially acknowledge your permit
I can have a
request.
permit to Abby tomorrow. That's
Yeah,
unofficial.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine.
We don't need electric, we don't need anything like that, it's just,
Perfect. And then as far as the fee goes, what do you guys
Is it
think?
leaving it?
Waive the fee? Okay. So yeah, I think that's the route that we go. We have your proof of insurance, and this covers all of those events, correct?
correct.
Okay. Yeah, you have our blessing, I guess.
we're gonna do that.
Okay, awesome. I'll email Abby that.
Yep, and then we'll look forward to those other permits.
So for the only thing that we do with the popcorn, should I just send you a permit? Like, I don't know the dates of the band concerts specifically, I just know they're like June through August. and
The
we-
town band ones?
Yeah, we typically sell popcorn there.
Okay.
A little popcorn machine. So I don't know.
That's always come in as like one permit with like all of those
It
dates.
started
That
decades ago as a letter that we were asked, if I may speak as an EBA member, not a trustee. It started, we were asked to write a letter
I'll get 4,000.
telling the village everything that we were gonna do for the year. And sent in a check for $50 and granted, that was before the new
Yeah.
rules, but that's why some of these are lagging because they're so old that
Yeah, so they don't want, I mean, I think having the letter in advance, at the beginning of the year is kind of helpful, so it's just like a reminder
Yeah. And then
for
we'll just do
people to
the-
like make sure that we're looking for them, especially with the.
we used to do it in
that
January.
long time like requirement for the permits.
Yeah. Okay, good enough.
Next year,
It's good
they'll
for
get it done.
pre-planning,
I don't think they actually can.
just to see in advance what's going on.
Well, now you know all the things you can attend and do.
Okay.
So Sean,
Is that good?
is
Yeah.
Enosburg Eats, do you think that's gonna be on the table of this calendar?
You wanna plan it?
Fuck, it's the fall, so it's a little while away.
Nothing is off the table.
It was nice, it's just kind of as their capacity for planning.
Is Jesse still on?
Yeah.
Jesse had a great idea about something with Depot Street that maybe we could collaborate on, but anyway.
Well, I'd love to hear.
I'm still here.
I was just, Heather had mentioned Enosburg Eats and if that event was going to make an appearance again. And I was mentioning how you had a great idea for Depot Street. Maybe we could collaborate on the two somehow.
Yeah, a while ago, I had a kind of a block party idea for Depot Street. Shutting that street off, food trucks, food vendors, bands, something like that, and kind of making, just a block party idea. Parking's there, the space is there. Again, you got Legion parking lot, base parking lot, depending on where you want to do it. Obviously, their participation would be, needed, but that's something we've kind of had, Shayla and I have had in the back of our minds for a couple years now.
Lee, I think about that's truck route, they're using that for truck route now quite a bit.
Anyway, so.
I would think like Dickinson.
Yeah, I mean, there's just good things there, and maybe that's not the ideal place, maybe,
Dickinson.
maybe it is in,
Oh.
or different,
School parking lot.
I
so.
personally think that's a great spot.
Okay, thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
Keep the faith.
All right, moving on here. We got welcome signs with Dave Tryhorn. Even Dave.
Howdy. Thank you very much. Is it possible I can get over there behind Abby?
Yeah,
She's got a few props on it.
have them ready, so you just have to tell me what order you wanna have them go up, Dave.
Okay, so basically, what I wanted to say tonight is, we've been working on this project for about a year now, almost a year. And we'd like to kind of move this along, get over this project, and tackle something new. So I have basically details. The last time we were here, we were talking about this particular picture here, with a 4x6 sign, that upper one. Ignore the lower one. I know that's not what you want.
Strike it from the jury's
And since then, we have, last night we were at a select board meeting, we talked with the town, and we have come up with some other ideas. So that one right there is another one, and that's kind of based off an idea of a sign up in Island Pond, which we thought was pretty decent. So what I need to have you do tonight, if possible, is to pick one of these for us. If not, what's on it for a photo, the basic size will do the trick. So this is another one.
Sorry if I'm jumping, but I'm
No,
just trying to throw them all up there.
no, that's okay. Now this sign's a 4x4. The sign before it was a 4x4. And the two of us feel, and we got that same opinion from the select board last night, that the 4x4 was a good size for our signs. And there are a few reasons for it. The one, and probably the most important one, is that they're cheaper. Because this material, the material that they make the base of this sign out of, comes in a 4x8 sheet. So they can get two signs out of one 4x8 sheet if you go with a 4x4. Second thing is, I think from a weather point of view, wind-wise especially,
Yeah, that's true.
you know, I think the 4x4 would be the best bet. So I think that's all
There's
of the
those
signs.
two, and then the
Okay.
top one,
That's the top one,
so the top one, and then there was the winter scene.
the winter scene. Okay, so now, so we've come up with different photos, and fortunately Kathy Ensch has basically volunteered. I asked her and she volunteered to do some photos for us, and basically at no cost. And I said, well, if you're gonna do that, maybe at the end of this project, we can somehow, you know, credit you, like in the paper. You know, we can mention that these photos are from Kathy and so on. So, and that seemed to be good with her. Now, I was thinking, number one, we gotta decide a few things. You gotta decide location for these signs, and how many signs do you want? There are a few other things, like, do you folks need to go through the planning board, the zoning board with this?
That'd be another question for Jesse. I think if we're replacing existing signs, so the four that we had talked about earlier, 105, I guess it would be west, 108 south, 108 north, and 108 east.
Okay, I would, in some cases, I'd like to see a different location. One in particular is the one coming in on 105 down here by the quick stop. That, I think, is a very poor location for a sign. And if possible, I'd like to see it move this way. And if you know where the Northwestern Medical Building is at, if you look at the slope before you get there, if you're coming this way, I think it'd be an ideal place.
It's right after St. Albans Street.
Yes, ideal place for a sign.
So that, I think, sorry, we may need to talk about in the future, because we would need maybe an easement for sign placement. And I think the signs right now are on current village boundaries. And I don't think we're gonna have any issues with replacing the current signs in their locations, but if we wanna move anything, we may run into some issues.
Okay. Is it possible that you folks could figure that out?
We can look into it, yeah. I don't know who exactly would own the land by the notch, I would assume.
Well, it should be a state right away there, Sam. It should be a state right away, somebody draws Maybe
Yeah.
check with
Off the road.
V-Trans, yeah. 'cause-
I would think so.
But, yeah,
Actually, the town is, they're gonna check with Jim Coda, I don't.
Yeah, the two quarter.
Yeah.
He's at District 8,
Yeah,
you're right, because the village, Pro Street doesn't start until where?
up by,
Halls.
it's lawnmower place,
Holes, yeah.
So Larrabee.
yeah, there you go. So, I'm getting old, and lose my memory.
Okay, yeah, we can check on that.
that'd be good. So, well, I guess what I'd like to ask is, maybe you need to vote on it or whatever, would you be willing to go with a 4x4 sign, similar to that one on the right there?
This one or this one?
I'd say the right.
Oh.
The right's more
You're
graceful.
right or am I right?
No, my right.
Kidding.
So,
This one right here.
yeah, I like that one better than the other one.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's a little more
And is
aesthetically pleasing.
the one on the left, is the rendering of the photo that I'm looking at here, and we're looking at up there, going to be what that photo would be? Because it looks to me like it's been Photoshop blown and it's gone too far.
Okay, well, so the photos, if whatever you want for photos, you can have.
The other one is much more realistic looking,
There's the window.
photographically.
And one of the reasons I kind of shied away from the one that we started with is because I don't know where it came from. I don't know who belongs to it. These photos that Kathy has done, for her phone.
Yeah. So we've got a choice of fall and winter.
Now, the other thing is, as far as I'm concerned, you don't need to do 4. And especially you don't need to do 4 this year. What if you just do 2 or 3? The reason I'm saying that is because there's enough money to do 3, enough money to do 2, and probably 3.
How much did the price change going down to the 4x4 versus the 4x6?
Okay, my original quote from John was, if we did all of these, the smaller signs would be 4x4, would be $1,200. The 4x6 would be $17.
I think we budgeted 4,300.
Sounds about right,
So, yeah.
42 or 4,300.
yeah. Okay,
So I mean, if you do.
so that would suggest the placement of a 5th sign?
No, we had enough money for 3.5 or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'd be a few $100s short
Shy
for what we
of
budgeted, which there was
So-
talk of
So let
Jim
me,
having other funding.
let me say a little more to this. It gets a little more complicated. The town's gonna do 2. They're gonna do 2 4x4s. Similar to the one on the right. And they're gonna have different photos of each one. The one that we've worked with right now is a photo of the Oregon farm coming from Bakersfield to Enosburg. Obviously, the date's gonna be different. That's gonna be 1760. And
Must be, it's gonna have an H.
80.
Okay, I think at least we can knock one variable, maybe 2 off of this right now. Do we have an agreement of what sign style we want? Are we thinking the one on the right there with the smaller
the one on
little
the right.
summer picture of the bridge?
Picture could change, but the
Yeah.
style of
Yeah.
the sign.
We don't need to figure out a picture until we get there.
So it sounds like we're all in agreement that that style of sign, 4x4 with a center picture, is the one that we're all
With the
thinking
established.
would work
Yep.
with that same language and font and such.
Yep.
One on the right.
That one?
I guess they're both going to.
And then as far as the picture goes, we want a photo of the bridge. That's kind of our,
That's us.
that's
Now,
kind of our thing.
would you want to do, so what I was thinking was, like with the town, you could have like more than one photo of the bridge. Like if there's a winter scene there and there's a fall scene. You could have,
Yeah, the other winter scene looks okay. I just don't care for the big one. That looks fine.
another scene that I've been thinking of, and we don't have we don't have a photo of it, is if you stand out here on the new bridge and you look up the river to the mountains, to Jay and
Towards
so
Jay,
on. I think that would be a nice photo for a village sign.
Well, that's something that can be determined after everything else has been agreed on, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so as for right now, we have an agreement on the sign style and size that we need. We're gonna have to check in on the placement, see if we can change those.
Yeah.
Are you thinking just the one on 105 towards the west that needs to be moved? And then just replace 108 coming into the village
Yeah.
and 105?
If we can get approval from the Lions Club, I would leave at least the one on coming down 108 where it is.
Okay.
West Berkshire,
That, again, that's at the
I
village.
don't want to
limit.
say about West Berkshire, it's not a great place, but,
Board?
I've been working on historical markers. And with the state, if it's in the right-of-way, the owner doesn't have to give permission, and continuing responsibility is to the state. And I wonder if that, does that apply?
Yeah.
for our- Yeah, so we could move it if it stayed within the,
Well, you'd have
If the state agrees.
State agrees.
oh, okay, so that's with the state, yeah, okay.
and that's being checked out by
Good.
Jesse. Jesse's gonna do it.
So we're, yeah, we're gonna need to verify that and again, ask to see if we can
Yeah.
use that location.
Maybe one of you folks, maybe Gary, you wanna talk with?
I can help with Jim,
With Jim.
what we need to do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so just to be clear, the three are staying except for 105 coming from the west.
If we can get the Lions Club to
Okay.
take out the ones that they've got. Yep.
All right, so moving forward, we're gonna get, are you gonna get in contact with Lions Club to see if we can just replace those signs?
I'll do
I
that.
think everyone is in agreement already.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, now, this thing is something that you folks need to do, but I can help with part of it. I can get an official quote for 3 or 4 of these signs from John. Bring that to you, and I don't exactly know your procedure, but if you approve the quote, and then hand him a purchase order to do this job, that's the way it should go.
We can do that.
Yes,
You could just email that to me and we can get that taken care of.
sounds good.
Yep.
I guess that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
They are gonna look good.
They sure are.
Yes, they're much more better road.
Okay, up next, festival permit for the Dairy Festival at Enosburg Lions Club with Pierre Boudreau.
I never did get confirmation back, I tried reaching him again today, so they're looking to actually do Dairy Festival again
For
this
the
year.
first time in a couple of years.
Yes.
After 2 years,
We did put
are
the dates
taking-
in here, I don't know what else you typically would need. You're back to right after the signs.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, there's a separate ordinance, I believe, that accompanies the Vermont Dairy Festival. We essentially turn the park over to them for the weekend. So, I don't know, I don't think we have to do a permit request since it's not under us. We would just approve their request to hold the Dairy Day.
Is that how it's always happened?
Well, honestly, I don't know because they haven't had it in 2 years. We've only had our parks permit.
Oh, because it's different because of the permits request.
Right, we changed
Yeah.
our permit style.
Yeah, changed for everybody else.
Right. Okay, we'll have to look in on that, see if they actually need a physical or an actual permit, but we can review and accept the letter for now.
And do they do the they are in charge of the parade, or is it the EVA that
No, they do their own
they do
parade.
their own parade?
They do their own everything. They have carnival rides, and they have the parade, and they have,
Okay, so like it's not a partnership with anybody else, it's solely
no,
that.
it's solely the dairy, it's solely the Lions Club.
Okay.
Are you saying like that it's like a specific law of Enosburg, like its own law, that it's not an event, because you just give them the park and then it's their responsibility?
Correct, yes, they essentially own the park for the weekend. Same with, like I believe the horse pulling rink is along with that as well.
So that almost seems like it's not in the
In
event
September.
thing, because
Right.
it's not, it's a different.
They must have insurance.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have their own.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure backed by big international insurance to boot.
Mm.
Probably, yeah.
So, is it what, we're approving it, but we'll just see about the parks permit?
Well, yeah, we'll have to double check to make sure that they don't need one. I don't think they do, since they are, like Alan was saying, their own kind of entity at this time. But yeah, exciting, the Dairy Festival will finally be back. If everyone agrees, I will hear a motion to accept the Lions Club's request for Dairy Festival this year.
Move. I'll second.
Eli with the first, Sandy with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. All right, we'll reach out to Pierre and see. I'll probably give a whole
Did they
yes.
keep the dates on the letter?
So that is June 2nd through June 5th.
And even, don't they use some of like the high school parking lot?
Yes,
Yeah, that's where they put
rides.
the
All the ride.
things.
All right, up next is Enosburg Initiative update with Jim Cameron. I don't believe he is present right now.
He is not.
So we can skip over that. He can circle back if he shows up.
My other people here. We're fine to represent
Okay.
the Enosburg Initiative.
All right. No Jim tonight, but there is Enosburg Initiative. Good evening.
She just made copies of
So,
that for you.
the Enosburg Initiative, I'm just reading this. This is something that has been under discussion at our meetings for a little while. The Enosburg Initiative has been meeting twice a month or more for about 5 years with the vision to do what we can in collaboration with the trustees, select board, and other organizations to improve the town and village of Enosburg. When we learned recently that the village was seeking a new manager, we saw this as an opportunity to encourage you to consider a municipal or a unified manager, a position that would work in conjunction with the town instead of just the village. Because the village also has a utility, that portion of responsibility could fall to a utilities manager separate from the manager. For example, our former village manager has just accepted a job in Lindenville as their utilities manager. The initiative has done some research and believes that a municipal or unified manager would be in the best interest of both the village and the town. This position would help improve communication and accountability between the two bodies to be directly responsible to the select board and the board of village trustees, responsible for hiring and dismissing staff, and plan, organize, coordinate, and administer the daily functions of municipal government. Naturally, a municipal or unified manager would be appointed by the village board of trustees and the town select board, and the cost would be shared. I am sure that the League of Cities and Towns could assist with this transition. Below are 2 towns in Vermont where they have a municipal or unified manager and the Ludlow municipal manager job description. From my personal point of view, seeing how these meetings go and seeing how the town meetings go, I don't know. It seems like an excellent opportunity to improve communication between the entities and kind of streamline how business is done in general. So we offer this to you as a point of discussion, and we have, I'm not sure exactly where we landed on working on a joint meeting so that we could talk about this with the town and you guys together, but that would obviously be an important part of this.
Government and house ran versus how the town ran, so would it be that simple?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. But this would be a very big step that would need to be considered by, as you said, both town and village.
And I think it requires a charter change,
I'm
which would be,
looking right now.
which would be approval by the state legislature.
Because we're currently a village
merger,
manager
yeah.
style of government. And
Not
if we were to
necessarily.
change that.
It wouldn't be a complete merge.
No,
No, just a.
no, we're just saying that,
One manager, two, they're not merging the both towns.
no, that's a whole nother.
It's full.
I was there when they did the Waterbury merger. It came to the committee that I was serving in, so it definitely goes through. We took testimony and, it went along its way.
And was that for a village-town merger, or was that for?
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
shebang.
the whole thing. And they have a utility, and it was, it took some time
Absolutely.
on our end, but it was Waterbury, I guess, village and town, if I remember right.
Okay.
But that was merging the towns. This is not merging the towns.
No, correct.
This would just be a charter change.
Yes.
For a manager for both.
Yep.
There's gonna be a lot of different variables, I think, to look when we're thinking about this question.
And just as far as visioning what we want to be moving forward and making sure that we're on the same page, it just seems like a really good time to have this discussion while it's not a direct personal thing to anyone, because there's no one doing that right now. So it's an open book to vision something different that could help us move forward.
Yep.
And they have that set up in Lindenville. I thought that was interesting when I was looking up stuff. And that's where Jonathan went, to just do the utilities part, but there is a municipal manager there that does the other part, so and there are examples in there of job descriptions, what the person would do, plenty of people to talk to.
So as it's been brought up tonight, though, this is like a multi-year, well, if it required changing the charter, it would most likely be a multi-year process. But in the meantime, still, the village would need a manager, at least, for the short amount of time. So it's something for us to think about, but yeah.
I think in resources to the Northwest Regional Planning Commission is also an organization that can help with questions. The Vermont leagues of cities and towns have been swamped right now too with COVID response stuff, but they're also a resource too. So I think there's actually two different resources.
Yeah.
Warren, did you have something?
Yeah. I'm part of the group and brought along with this suggestion, but for me personally, in my life experience, it's premature to have a solution to a problem that we haven't looked at as closely as we should. And I'm going to make a little speak. I know a person in town who's about my age, who the first time she went to Burlington was to get a prom dress when she was in high school. Okay, we got citizens that's their life experiences. I say this now in our 50th year of calling Enosburg home. We bought our house and property in 1972 and we haven't found any place better. However, the town is a lot different now. I remember a couple of years ago seeing a list of, it was an article about how many people no longer work in the town they live in. And Enosburg had the highest percent in Franklin County. I don't know what it is now, this might have been 5 to 10 years ago. So we got people moving around. We've got all of this technology stuff that's getting in the way as well as making things a lot easier. There's a lot of money around that's coming from outside. And where each town, if you're gonna, the whole federal system, and now with the COVID and grants and stuff, you know that business in spades. I think it's time that we as a community went through some kind of a process that looked at all of those things collectively and talked about what we wanted our town to look like. And then out of that, then come to some conclusion, maybe this is the right one, maybe it isn't. And I give you one simple example that doesn't cost anything. Has anyone here ever been involved in a SWOT analysis? You have?
To write a business plan.
Okay. A SWOT is what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Now, if we were having a workshop, I'd ask each of you to write that down for Enosburg. And we could narrow it down to the way we're managed, or we could broaden it out to something else, and then we'd start talking about that, and then the conversation's underway. Vermont, no, not Rural Vermont, it's the, what is it called? The guys who lead the discussions in the towns. That's right.
The rural business.
No, it's not business. Anyway, there's a group that came here 20 years ago and we participated and they came for 2 or 3 talks and we were produced a report on what the town's needs are. They're still in business and they helped Montgomery the last 3 or 4 years focus on have a conversation with the community and focus on 2 things they wanted to work for. So my plea would be that you guys, with the select board, talk about having some process that draws the community in and collects your thoughts collectively to think about what kind of future we want to have and how we're gonna, what we need to do to make that possible. And this is one piece of that. And we could go straight to that and talk about that, and it could end up being good, and it could end up not being quite so good, and in the form here, it's only, for me, who would like a merger, it's only half the problem. So anyway, I'd ask you to talk to your colleagues about doing something together to think about the future for us all.
Yeah, we can definitely discuss it at a joint meeting. This is certainly more than fitting.
When is your next meeting?
Yes, we typically do have a spring and a fall annual meeting, usually in April. I believe we reached out to the select board and they were looking for dates, I believe. I talked to Larry a few weeks
Maybe we
ago.
can become atypical if we need to,
Yeah,
instead of the typical 2 a year.
And I think 2 a year might not even be enough.
No, that's why I was thinking atypical might be a good idea.
So I've got it. Last night at the select board meeting, this joint meeting was discussed. And the group of us that were there asked them if it might be possible, instead of having a joint meeting on the date when you folks have a meeting, or the select board has a meeting on that date, if you could, through the year, schedule a couple of meetings that are just
simply a joint meeting.
Just a joint meeting, and in that joint meeting, the focus would be on issues of not only the village, the town, but both combined, and have a joint discussion about those issues.
yep, as long as it works out for both boards, we can.
And, yeah, I mean, but someone's gotta get together and try to coordinate that.
It would be nice if we could work towards having them pre-scheduled, like for the calendar year, instead of back and forth from meeting to meeting trying to pick a date.
Yeah, we'll be in touch with the select board, and we gotta get one rolling here pretty soon anyway. Okay, is that it for Enosburg Initiative?
I think so. Did you find anything on the charter?
I didn't.
I was curious, I'm not sure.
I don't think I have the whole thing.
Here.
I just know that we're chartered specifically to have a village manager, and that in order to change that position, it would have to go through a charter.
Voted on by people in the town.
Yeah,
But
it's
then
a
also
multi-step
approved by the
process.
state.
Yeah, and then the state would have to approve that, so yeah, it's definitely a long process.
Okay, moving on, Pierre, we got to the Dairy Center. Oh, sorry. The Dairy Festival, sorry.
Open bar, you, right?
Yeah, perfect. So we approved the request.
Oh, okay.
We just need to check to make sure that you don't need a separate parks use permit, since you have your own,
Ordinance?
your own ordinance. So that's just one thing
Okay, no, I don't understand. Separate permit for what?
to use the park. So we changed our parks use.
Park, okay, things have changed.
Yes.
Yeah,
A
hand
couple
up,
years
yeah.
ago, we changed our parks use permit application.
This is
But-
new to me, okay.
Yeah, it's fairly new, but again, the Dairy Festival has its own separate ordinance, so we may not need that, but just in case we do, we'll be getting in touch with you.
Okay.
Just to fill it out. But yeah.
Okay, so village has approved it.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, but the park people.
As far as we know right now, you're all set, but we just need to double check.
Okay.
No questions?
There's still plenty of time. to
Worst
fill
case
permits.
scenario, you might have a piece of paper to fill out.
Yeah, it's just paperwork.
If we can't do it in a park, we'll do it on Main Street, Sandy Struck Lawn.
Sounds good.
I'll be locked and loaded.
Little beer tent going.
Okay, so nobody have any questions for me then?
I'm happy to see you back.
Exactly, okay, have one on us.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
Look at that, he hardly even had to come.
I know, right? You had good timing tonight. All right, up next, water and wastewater allocations request, Franklin Foods and Purpose Energy.
So I'll start it. Franklin Foods and Purpose Energy, this is in regards to the digester project that there's been discussion back and forth. Staff actually had a meeting with Eric Fitch is on from Purpose Energy and John Ovitt. So if you guys have some questions, now's the time to ask them. But their specific request was in here regarding wastewater and water allocations. I'm gonna do you wanna jump in or do you want me to keep rolling with it?
You can go ahead and just
Explain, okay. So at this time, you can see that we've enclosed their letter dated February 1st of 2022, requesting 25,500 gallons per day for wastewater plus 100 for, call it domestic or the sanitary for just bathrooms, and then an extra 2,100 gallons a day. So that equates to 121.9 wastewater allocations at our unit price of $2,997 per allocation. So you can see the total comes to $365,334. On the water side, they're requesting an additional 10 allocations, which at $500 a unit is $5,000. Staff has gone over this. Brian has gone over this. We've had questions back and forth with Eric and John, and Brian has consulted with Wayne Elliott too, and there's no issues.
He supports the project, yeah.
And he supports the allocation request as is. Gary's good with it. You got your memo here from Gary. And their proposed payment schedule seems to be on point and acceptable for everyone.
So typically the water, wastewater permits kind of go hand in hand?
They mirror each other, and that's the way the ordinances are written. And when this request first came, that's what I said, we should mirror it. Then when we met with Fitch and John, they explained the process. They're not increasing their water consumption beyond the gallons that they indicated in their letter. Those gallons will be for the digester itself, whereas they're changing their wastewater discharge. That's why they need more on that side than they do on the water side. It's a significant increase if we force them or mirror it, that's an additional $56,000.
Absolutely.
We met with them, they were great, they shared a lot about the project. Brian and I kind of drew a flow map and how it was gonna work. Based on their request, their impact would only meet what they're saying. They would not exceed that water. So we could enter into a special agreement with them in regards to this so that we note that this is an agreement between us and them and it doesn't set a precedence for future. So
We're all, for what it's worth, kind of on the same page with that to make the special exception. Like I said, after the meeting, Fitch and John explained the whole process, and I think it's more than kind of fair to get the ball rolling with this moving forward, rather than forcing them to purchase something extra that they don't need.
Right, it's basically something they're hauling away now, they're gonna be digested.
Yeah. We're extremely fortunate to have Franklin Foods in Enosburg Falls, and quite frankly, personally, I want to make sure we keep it that way.
I would agree, yes.
I think John's on board with that as well, and actually mentioned in the meeting wanting to set up a meeting with you guys at some point just to come in and explain some of the growth that they're experiencing.
Because as staff, we learned a lot when we met with them. It was very informative.
It was a great meeting.
It was really a great meeting.
I would be happy to, sorry to interrupt, I definitely would be happy to do that for you folks if you'd like. A lot of changes, and you know, good changes for growth for sure. And it probably would be, you know, it probably would be good to touch base. A lot of new things have happened. A lot of new things are in the air, and everything I can see is positive growth.
That's great. I would love to hear about it. I'm old enough to have known Franklin County cheese when it was a closet beside the tank room.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there with you. I guess we're dating ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so as far as wastewater, we have capacity and.
Yep, in fact, I did like a 6-year evaluation just to see where that additional flow would put us, and it puts us on average at about 61%. There really are no concerns until you start consistently meeting 80%. That's when the state will force you to look into some upgrades. It would leave us with approximately about 300 user units, which I think is pretty generous.
Yep. And it's water capacity, same deal.
Yeah, we're way below. We still have, you know, I talked to Wayne, it's our concern if your well pumps start pumping over 8 hours, we have each pump runs about 4 hours a day.
And it's only an additional 2,100 gallons. So
our average day usually, depending on, if Franklin Foods is running, usually we're over 200,000 gallons a day, but we run anywhere from 160 to 225.
So 1% additional.
Our wells pump 400 or 500 gallons a minute, so combined they pump 600 gallons a minute, so.
Okay. Well, it's good news that there's some exciting big things happening. If board doesn't have any other questions, I'll hear a motion to accept these new allocations with making a note, not setting any future precedents for the non-mirror vendor.
I'll second it.
Eli has the first, Sandy with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
For being available.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Up next, VMBV Certificate of Project Completion.
That's me real quick.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
So we've completed, obviously, the paving project last year. I just closed on the loan at the end of February with Vermont Bond Bank. All I need is a motion certifying that the project is complete, and then when we're packing up for executive, I will pass this around, and I just need everybody to sign this. So just a motion that the board recognizes that the project is complete.
And this was for the depot paving?
This was for, Depot Missisquoi. We're behind the 8 ball because we missed the summer round last year for the financing with Vermont Bond Bank. So we just applied in December. They just closed on it. We received the funds. Everything's taken care of at this point in time. It was just, this was the final piece that we needed that we got after the last meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, Eli with the first, Heather with the second. All those in favor of signing the certificate of project completion, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, you're not rid of me yet.
Next up, staff report.
So obviously I didn't do a manager's report because we don't have a manager's report, but there was quite a bit going on that I wanted to make sure the trustees are aware of. So try to go through this quickly. Just the Rise Vermont grant for the Dickinson Avenue Crosswalk project. All of the paperwork is complete. Sam, I just have some stuff for you to sign tonight just to get back to Amy. So we've submitted everything that Amy has said we need to do on that end for that additional $2,000 cash match for the other grant if it comes through.
Is that for Dickinson or for Maine?
Dickinson. And Maine.
Dickinson and Maine.
Maine Crosswalk. Sorry, I just.
Well, it's Maine, but coming off Dickinson.
Next up is Village of Swanton. As the board's aware, Swanton has offered any assistance with the transition because we do not have a village manager. I did already used the phone a friend feature and called Reg Bellevue for assistance with the FERC process. Started diving into that and was drowning very quickly. So I have had a couple of meetings with Reg and I feel in a much better place. He actually came up and met with me, and also we've had a couple Zoom meetings. So that's been great to have him kind of translate for Paul Nolan, who we work with too. I think he thought I knew more than I did going into it about where we were at, but so they've been amazing. They've also, I don't know if the board is aware, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but our Kendall Hydro has been down for a significant amount of time. And when I say significant, I mean, I think we're approaching the 18-month mark, which is a huge revenue loss for us because of the controls. We're having a lot of issues with the control system because it's outdated. There's very few people, it's a DOS system, so there's very few companies or people that know how to operate that. So Scott Mueller is the head of Swanton's Hydro, and he offered his and Al Moser to come up and take a look at it, who run their hydros, see if they could do anything. I talked to our guys, they said, yeah, have at it.
That's great.
So they've already come up once. They were on site actually March 17th. We weren't able to get it up and running that visit, but we did make some progress. They're doing a little more research. We're also reaching out to Ken Sainamore because it might be a matter of trying to uninstall the software and reinstall it. So to be continued on that. Just a heads up for the board, I'm on a big push to get that going because we are losing revenue with that being down.
Can't keep doing that.
No, it's been down way too long at this point in time, so I'm asking.
How long has it been down?
I've been here for 10 months, Leonard, and it was down the winter before I started. So it's been down, I think we're at least 18 months, if not longer.
Ooh.
So it's been down. And that's part of the reason our late department budget is high, because they look at our last 2-3 years for our purchase power, and it's been down, so we haven't been producing as much of our own, so we've been having to purchase more. So, to be continued. I'm on kind of a warpath to get that up and running. Ask Dave, I'm pretty sure he's sick of me at this point in time. So.
Well, it sounds like you've got some good help, so that's great.
Hopefully, yeah, Swanton, I just wanted to keep you guys kind of in the loop that I am reaching out to them for certain things that I need a lifeline on to get us kind of up to speed. Which brings me into kind of the FERC. I found out in all of this, because Paul Nolan we're kind of going through this process with Swanton at the same time and sharing some of the costs. We are still in the information gathering stage. Swanton's a little further ahead. I learned in this that we have missed some deadlines due to lack of this office responding previously to requests for information. So Gary and I have been working pretty hard the last couple weeks to get caught up on that. We have a May 9th deadline for some of this that I'm even pushing some of the engineers he's working with. I'm in contact with everyone and kind of doing weekly check-ins and being a thorn in everyone's side to keep the ball rolling, because it could jeopardize our license by not meeting these deadlines. So
I'd say we can be quite thankful to you, Abby. Absolutely.
I also have called at People's Trust Company, the line of credit that we have designated specifically for FERC expenses. It's coming up for renewal. Started the conversation in about February with Deirdre around what our options were with the line of credit, because we're still using it. It's until the FERC process is done, which could be another 3 to 5 years. This has been offsetting our expenses. Right now, they've agreed to evaluate it yearly with us, but they, as of right now, have agreed to renew it with a balance to continue to let us to draw off of it, which is the best case scenario we could have asked for with them. So, to be continued on that. I will have paperwork that we'll need to do moving forward with that. Back on the Kendall Hydro, actually we got really good news on that today. Dave has been reaching out to a company called Electrical Technology Solutions. They're based out of New Hampshire, but they run Sheldon's hydros, and they are going to be in the area tomorrow to take a look.
Great.
So we don't know specifically if they will be able to get the Kendall up and running, but what the long-term goal is and has been is Hydro One's controls has the capability to run the Kendall. We would need to put in a couple different modules into that system. So then we could operate it all off of one set of controls, which is perfect world what we want right now. So they're coming tomorrow, which is great because it's actually sooner than they originally told us that they could get up here. And he's gonna get us a quote together, but we are looking at anywhere, Dave and I threw out some numbers the other day, I'm gonna say minimally $50,000 to do this conversion. So we did budget 15, and we may have to talk about moving some money around within the electric department budget. This needs to be a priority. So we did have some money set aside for an engineering study on Main Street for underground. Just prepare yourself, I may be asking us to divert those funds because for our ratepayers, we need to get Kendall up and running. Like, we need to be producing as much power as we can while the river is flowing. So it's going to be an ongoing conversation, so I'm not done on that one yet, but that's all I got on that one tonight. I know you guys have heard John talk about the NEPA conferences before that he typically goes to. I don't know if the board is aware, but you all can attend that. They just announced that this year's conference is going to actually be held in Stowe. The August 14th to the August 17th is when it's going to be held. The registration's not open yet, but if anyone is interested in that, let me know, and as soon as I get more information, I will forward it to you. But they offer several classes that can kind of help understand with the management and the running of the utility and dive in a little bit deeper. I know almost all of Swanton's board attends NEPA conference every year. So just kind of wanted to get it on people's radar if that's something, if you're looking to kind of dive in and learn a little bit more about it and understand it a little bit more, maybe a good learning thing for everyone.
Hopefully by then we'll have a manager selected, so
right.
It may be good to reserve at least one seat.
Right. I would like to go whether we have a manager or not, especially with it being
We would like to have
close. So to be continued on that as well. Do you guys recall Ken Nolan coming to speak about the RAP program?
Yep.
I had a lot of reservations walking away from that meeting, and I had a Zoom meeting with Ken Polito, who is the VHFA, who is running the RAP program, and I have more reservations since I spoke with him about it.
But more.
So the purpose of this program is to target low-income households to make weatherization upgrades to their houses. It's a loan, essentially, through the VHFA that's paid back through your utility bill. So say you make an upgrade to your house, you change your windows, you add more insulation, you're saving $50 a month. Basically, your loan has to equate to what your cost saving is going to be, but the catch-22 on that is it may be maybe their primary is burning wood or propane or natural gas. So they may not necessarily see the savings in their utility bill with Enosburg Falls. So I had some concerns about that, and I did attach kind of the workflow thing, and there's some deadlines in there that are pretty strict for what the utility has to. Quite honestly, I feel like all the work is being pushed onto the utility, and even though this program has essentially could have nothing to do with us. So my recommendation, and Lori and Psyche and I have had this conversation as well, is that we hold off on participating in this program. So what that means for us is that we will not be kind of taking part in the tariff that they're going to create to do this program, but that we hold off. They're rolling out, I think in April, the first set, and I know other utilities are holding off on this for the same reservations that I have. We are allowed to create, basically to come up with a fee that would be applied for our time, but it's so small, and we will be the ones fielding all of the questions, all of the concerns, getting all the phone calls, doing a lot of the legwork back and forth. So the fee doesn't really, in my opinion, justify the work that we would have to do with this program. If we find out that we do have a customer that wants to apply, we can opt in at that point in time. So that's my recommendation. Obviously, you guys can have the final decision on that, but my recommendation is that we hold off and see how this plays out for other utilities before we jump on the bandwagon, because it's not, there's too many variables that are not being answered at this point in time, and I think it's gonna turn into a major headache.
Well, I think considering the fact that you've done so much work on this, you certainly, at this point, know a lot more about it than we do.
You say I trust her judgment.
Yeah, I trust your judgment as well.
Yeah, like I said, there's just too many unknowns, and gives me kind of an uneasy feeling about this. I think it has great intentions, just not sure on the execution of it all at this point in time. But if we do have a customer that wants to do it, I do think at that point in time, we do need to support that customer in doing this. But with the income requirements, I mean, we can only think of maybe 1 or 2 people in our service territory that may apply for it. And one of the things that's unique about this program is the loan is tied to the meter. So say Sandy does all of these upgrades, sells the house, and Eli buys the house, he now has to take over the loan payment because it's tied to that meter. It's not tied to the person.
Which that can be a hard sell to somebody too.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ask.
And then we're the one,
Yes,
then
you
we're
did.
getting the angry phone call from Eli saying, why is there $100 extra tagged onto my utility bill, and have to explain, well, the previous owner did this, got this loan program, now it's tied to that meter, you bought the house, it's now your responsibility.
I thought they only pay you back with the difference in monthly savings. I thought that's where you're.
Well, so say whatever upgrade Sandy did to the house, she's saving $100 a month, if that's their loan payment.
Right, and the other catch too is if you do all these upgrades and you're not saving any money, where do you get your loan repaid from?
Exactly, because your loan amount has to mirror what your savings is. So that means you could be pushing this loan out even for 30 years, essentially, depending on how long it is. So there's too many variables in this that just I don't think it's something that we want to jump in yet until they kind of work some of the kinks out with other utilities. And then I do know that they have at least 3 that are rolling out utilities in April, but.
Yeah, that'll be helpful, because I remember also like questions about renters as well, like, we asked that, but like how that would work if a rental property were upgraded.
Right, and then, so it'd be whoever's responsible for, some rental properties are set up where the landlord pays, some rental properties are set up
The
where
renter
the
pays.
renter pays.
Yeah.
But if it's
So-
tied to the meter, if the renter's paying the power and then it cuts back, the renter goes away and you don't have a tenant, then the landlord's responsible for it.
Right, and the one thing that the way that they're kind of trying to sell this program is that there's no liability on the utility. We only pay what we collect. So Sandy could choose not to pay her loan, that's nothing on us, we only pay them. But we have to make sure there's a lot of back and forth within so many days of correcting the invoice that they send us every month to catch that and to make sure they fix it. So there's a lot, not saying that we aren't capable and can't do the work, but there's a lot with kind of not a huge return at the moment. So I'd like to
It's
see
pretty
how,
poor timing as well.
yeah, I'd like to see how other utilities roll with this before we jump on board. But
I would agree. Okay, I think a big thanks are in order to both you
Yes.
and Swanton Electric for all of
Absolutely.
their help.
yeah, they've been fantastic, like just explaining hydros and even our guys. Like I've been up there where I say I'm only gonna be there for 5 minutes and I'm up there for 2 hours because I just keep coming up with questions, and we've been down by the hydros. That is one thing I will say, and then I promise to stop rambling. I found in all of this some reports that we had done, basically of analysis of our hydros and the dams and works that needed to be upgraded. These reports were done in 2018 and 2019 after we did some of the renovation. My biggest concern right now is there's a lot of fixes that needed to be done in 5 to 7 years. We're in year 4 and there's been no planning, no budgeting, no anything for this. So I actually want to reach back out to Swanton, to Scott specifically, and do kind of a walkthrough audit, just him and I, take a look at this. These are the reports I have. You run hydros 24/7, like this is what he does. And might even grab Dave on some of this too and be like, this is what we fixed so far, this is what they're still saying, like, where are we at, what do we need to do, so we can start budgeting and planning for this. The next big thing also is just insulating Hydro One, the building. I'm gonna start throwing some quotes together this summer because we're having to heat in there, and then the summer it gets so hot, so that building needs some upgrades, and insulation is probably, and maybe the windows, depending on what the cost is. Because we have some huge windows, I don't know if you guys have been down there, but there's some really big windows. But Dave has said that those are a necessity to stay because it gets so hot in there from the hydros running in the summertime that they need to be able to open them. So there's just some basic things like insulating and possibly some window upgrades that I would like to try to get on the radar for next year. So I'm gonna start this summer pulling together some quotes, and Dave's on board with all of this. He and I, like I said, I'm bugging him almost daily about hydro stuff, so.
Okay, yeah, keep us updated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Helen?
It just jogged my memory of being here. I know that there was some action on something to do with Franklin Foods, something that wasn't going the way that it was hoped it was going, and you filed a letter or something. But it wasn't to do with water.
So it was with the same project. What we did was file a motion to intervene. And since then, we have had several meetings with Franklin Foods and kind of hashed out, like, we had concerns about the flow.
It was the water, it wasn't the
It was the
electric.
wastewater.
Okay, I was trying to, I'm sorry,
No, this project shouldn't have a huge impact on the electrical side of it. It was that. But that actually, I'm kind of glad you brought that up.
okay, because I was like, hold on.
I got an email from our attorney that filed the motion to intervene on the CPG, which basically makes us a formal party in it, which we should have been from the beginning. If we have any formal testimony that we want to add or any conditions, I've touched base with Gary and Brian, and they're pretty satisfied. We're all feeling pretty good. We've had some great conversations with Fitch and with John. So at this point, I don't feel we need to do any testimony unless you guys have any direct concern. We have to file by April 8th. But they've met all of our parameters that we have set forth, and it's been a great communication and kind of collaboration back and forth of trying to make this project successful for them, for the community, and to work with what we need to do, so.
But it's not gonna have any impact on their power consumption? Is all of their generation power gonna stay within the plant?
It's not gonna have an impact immediately. I think their 5-year plan is the way that their tax credits are set up for this project. After 5 years, they want to take some of the thermal energy that they're creating and put that back into the plant. So we may down the road, but I've asked Dave, and he said it's not going to have a huge impact on anything at the moment. And
as long as Dave, Brian, and
every year we've all kind of had outlined discussions about
stipulations.
this. So, okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Alan, for bringing that up.
No worries, I was just trying to remember, because I knew that there was a big meeting and electric and water were there, and one of them was fine and one of them wasn't, but I couldn't remember
Electric,
which one was
yeah,
which.
electric was fine, wastewater, we had concerns, but we've, like I said, they're all that's been worked on, and Wayne Alley has been kind of overseeing everything as well, so.
That's good, if he's on board, then
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again. Moving on to other business at this point. I'll kick this off. I just want to give a quick update with the manager's hiring process. We have a meeting coming up next Tuesday, the 29th, just to go over some interview questions and just get some more ideas for when the interview is going to be set, and applications are due April 1st.
Friday.
Yep.
We received 3 more today.
So that's total 7?
I think we have 7. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, we will be having interviews, when is it, 5th? April 5th.
Was it the 5th we were going to start right off? Okay.
Hopefully
I
we will
have
have-
it written down.
Yeah, so that's where we're at this point. I just want to give the boards a heads up. Any other business?
I'd just like to state that there's been vandalism where the Lions keep their booths behind Maplefield.
Yep.
Somebody went in there, we don't know just how they got in there, the gate was closed, and most of the windows, the glass on all the booths are broke. Somebody went in there and just went to town, and
That's not good.
no, that's not good, but I think we should know about it, and the sheriff can't get in there because the gate's closed.
Is it the Lions have the key? Did the Lions have the key?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to tell you, there's been.
Maybe they ought to have some more keys made.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Leonard. Any other business?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is kind of minor, but I want to get back to the signs a little bit. I caught Pierre as he went out. Of course, you know, Pierre's a member of the Lions Club, and I know he has been from the beginning against the signs here in the village.
Against new signs.
Against new signs. So I'm asking you if they vote to keep their signs where they are, can we look to putting our signs in a different location?
You mean they would be keeping the signs that are there now
They
and then
say-
we would be adding more?
They say they're going to fix them.
So, I was under the
So I
impression
just-
that we
I
were
just-
working with the Lions during this entire thing.
We are, and some of them are fine with it, some are not fine.
So they'll have to vote, I would presume,
Yes.
to see what they're gonna do?
Hopefully it doesn't get to that.
But just let me say one other thing, and this is my opinion. I feel the village signs are the village signs. They should be purchased by the village, they should be maintained by the village, not another organization.
So, right, so again, I was under the impression that we would be repairing or replacing the signs that are currently owned by the Lions.
That was-
In which case, since it was funded by taxpayer dollars, the village would then accept them.
Yep.
That's how I thought this was all
Yep.
playing out.
Well, they're gonna, I don't know, if they vote to keep their signs, then what I'm saying is, does this project go down the tubes, or do we find a different location?
Well, I'm just gonna think on the bright side and hopefully that that doesn't happen.
Hopefully, the vote goes better than that.
I personally feel that it shouldn't get to that point. But yeah, I think we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay.
Leonard, you're a Lion, have you had any discussed this with anybody?
I'll be honest with you, I have not, for about 2 years,
Oh,
I
okay.
have not been that active. And I haven't, and I was told that if you wanna know something, you go to the board meetings, not to the regular meetings.
Oh.
And I'm not on the board, so don't ask me any questions.
Yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
actually, I was told that, DeRocher, Albert DeRocher was the sign guru, and I have talked with him a number of times during this process, and he is for new signs. But
Just have to wait and see.
Yep, like I said, we'll
I think they meet on the third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
So, I just wanna bring that up, just, I don't wanna go down the road here another month and find out.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Forewarned is forearmed.
Any other business?
I looked, Abby, on the Northwest Planning Commission website, and they have little blurbs for each of those things, so I sent it to you.
Oh, fantastic.
So when you advertise on Facebook or whatever for seeing if somebody wants to do it, you can put the blurb of what it is.
Fantastic, thank you, Ron. Yeah, I read one of them on there, but not the other one, so.
All right, I will hear a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations in which premature public knowledge may compromise the position of the municipality. Aye. Sandy, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Good night, everyone, thanks for coming.
Thank you.